Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another one! Another one!
Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, who fires the three in.
He hit it!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in to another week of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. Charlie Miller joining me as always. John, the producer, back in the house, which makes things a lot better. We're all brought to you, of course, by our good friends from the Wow Club and Endeavor Hospitality, Southern Stoke Restaurant, Feast Market and Cellar, Capello, the Allery, the courtroom down in Bedford, BB's Market, Butchers and Bakers, all kinds of great places. Make sure you join the Wow Club. Get that set up because Wow Club members earn exclusive discounts and dining dollars sent directly to your mobile app on your phone. Hey, welcome aboard, Charlie Miller. How are you, sir?
Doing well, guys. How you doing?
Cannot complain.
Love it.
It's kind of spring, but yeah, it's not been great yet weather-wise here, but it was inside all weekend. Basketball going on up here. The Adidas 3SSB event going on up in Fishers this weekend. A lot of teams from all over the country up there. A lot of some IU prospects. Gabe Cupps was up there playing, amongst others. Tons of coaches, Charlie. I mean, I saw half the Big Ten there. Fran McCaffrey, Greg Gard. I saw Mike Bray from Notre Dame, assistant coaches from Nebraska, from Minnesota, Georgetown. I mean, it was a cornucopia of who's who there, of course.
Hey, man, the spring is back, right? I mean, during COVID, about two plus years, you weren't able to say this as far as coaches getting out on the road. Now, man, it's back, man, and that's always a great thing around this time for these kids to get evaluations, to get honest feedback on where they're at and what they should do.
Good. Hey, Doug jumping on the Andy Moore Honda hotline all the way from down under in Australia. Wow. We always appreciate Doug jumping on, as well as everybody else. The truth is on. Michael, the music man. What was I getting ready to say about the basketball action yesterday? It was great. There's tons of great games, but it's so funny because during these events, these coaches come in, Charlie, and they're kind of like, it's during the season and when the games are going on, it's all this pomp and circumstance, and at these events, they're Johnny everybody else on the street. They're walking around. You're like, you bump into somebody. You're like, oh, I'm sorry. You turn around and it's Fran McCaffrey. I mean, it's hilarious. And the guy who could fit in, I've decided he is the Mr. Everyman, like no coach I've ever seen, and that's Mike Bray from Notre Dame. You could dump him in or drop him in someplace, and he could go unnoticed, and he could become if it was at a bar, he would sit there and start drinking with you. I could just see him being a guy that can just get along with anybody. He was there, of course. I mean, I knew who he was. I'm sure other people knew who he was, but no one was bothering him. He would just stand, and they had an area for the coaches to sit, but he was standing behind it, just standing there the whole time. Didn't bother to sit down. He got all the seats. He's hell. He just stood behind it, just standing there, took his jacket off, throws it over his shoulder. He looks like a fan off the street. It cracks me up with some of these coaches in there.
Well, you say that, man, and that's the awesome part about it. I think we as fans and now the platforms that have been given to coaches in general, we make them celebrity-like, and yes, indeed, they're on ESPN. They're being interviewed. They have radio shows locally like Coach Woodson, but they're everyday people, and that's what they're after for these players. They want to see the everyday player that's consistent. they're consistent, right? It's just that they're in a high-profile position. But just, I mean, you take me back, the whole row of Roy Williams, a Rick Pitino, taking to Leonard Hamilton. You're just a row of people just there, casually speaking and talking, but watching talent.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say they're enjoying themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly a lot less stressful than than having a game, but I'm not going to say they're enjoying themselves. Hell, I know all the travel that goes on during the season because I do it as well. They don't want to be out at these places in the summer, but that's part of it. That's a requirement. It's part of the deal, and they have to do it. But yeah, it's just ironic to see them treated in such a manner during the season, and then to catch them out here, they're just like everybody else, man.
Hey, one thing I want to say to that, to just kind of share with people, like, they're not there also, Jim. They're not randomly there. They're not searching for talent. They're looking at people they've already verified.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like the day of randomly just going to a tournament flying is over. You're going to see people that's on your depth chart that you want to now get a closer eye on. And when Coach Bray shows up, that means that the assistant coaches everybody's already bought in on these guys. Now he needs to put his eyes on them live. And it's not about what they do offensively. It's their total game. What do they look like on the bench when they miss shots, right? When they foul, do they recover? So, when, you talk about Coach Bray, he's there, and you said it, man. It's not really like to have fun. I need to see if this kid can wear my uniform next year, a couple years.
Exactly. And that's really find that out. Shout out to Juwan Morgan, man, J-Mo, with a new multi-year deal with the Celtics.
Nice.
That's big time because getting through your first contract or so in the NBA is gigantic. Getting a second contract, it sets you up for life. It sets you up for oh gosh darn it, I can't think of the word I'm looking for when you retire. Pension, NBA pension. Yeah. You're vested, man.
You're vested. And there we go. There you go. Yeah,
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Big deal.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal. That's awesome. And being a journeyman, it doesn't matter. You're in that family. 450 players max. You're always finding an opportunity to belong. That's a great thing, man. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, and that just shows hard work. I mean, as we sit here and talk about Trace Jackson Davis right now, and everyone's, and he declared, of course, as he should have, by the way, for the draft to test the waters at least. And we'll talk about that. But Juwan Morgan was a guy who not a lot of people expected to make it in the NBA.
Right.
I didn't know that he was going to I didn't say he could or he couldn't. I knew it was going to take a lot of hard work. He put that work in. Man, and he became an NBA player. He wasn't an NBA player. He became an NBA player, and there's a difference. Some guys just have natural talent, and they're going. And some guys have to work a little harder, and Juwan was one of those guys that had to work harder, but his hard work has paid off.
And one of the things that you also have to consider, Jim, not only with the hard work, is fit. He's a good fit. Right? He was a good fit in Utah. He's a good fit. And that's the key. When you are a good fit and you can play, you now are an asset. And like you said earlier, you're on your second contract. That means people believe in you. You have the right people behind your corners. You have the right GM saying, man, he can play. He's solid. He can contribute. He can help your rookies develop. He can help them grow. He's a good person in the locker room. Like, that means a lot. That's a lot. So that's awesome for him.
Irony in the fact that Romeo Langford started out with Boston, and he was not replaced by Juwan Morgan, but they've swapped spots and former teammates at IU.
Yeah,
Kind of the irony.
Yeah, and you know the thing about Romeo, which is great. You know, he was already projected to be a high profile player. You know, 1 year at IU, you know, played league, played for Boston. He's figuring it out. I mean, I think he still probably has, if he's given him the opportunity, probably another year and a half to become a solid pro that can maybe contribute, barring injuries. But you know, that's the tale of two players, right? One player not projected to probably do much, you know, other than just be a solid 4-year contributor at a high major college. Works his way into the NBA. One player, highly touted for years. You know, I think was drafted off of potential, like a lot of players do. Not wrong. You know, and now it's trying to find its way to become a professional at that level, the NBA level.
Absolutely. Excuse me. Sean says Indiana basketball is reloading. They're really building something. Well, they certainly got a boost of confidence, a boost of whatever, when it was just announced that 2020 Miss Basketball, Sydney Parrish, who had gone to Oregon.
I saw that.
Coming to Indiana. I mean, Indiana, you got to take your hat off to Terry Moore. And she got this great little run going with this team she's had. And then now this year they lose a couple of people off of that, some big players. But now you add a Sydney Parrish. This is Indiana. The women's team is they are definitely reloading. And Indiana, I think that the transfer portal is perfect timing for them, because had they not raised the level of their program right before the transfer portal like they did, you're not a destination. Well, they've become a destination, and that makes a difference. Indiana men's basketball, they're not quite a destination yet, I don't think, but they're damn close to it. Charlie. And by that, I mean the big time guys. Right. Indiana's not quite in that conversation with all of them yet, but they're right there. I mean, right there, because when you're looking at getting guys like Malik Rayno in, you already have Jalen Hood-Schifino in, and then there's another teammate of his that they've offered as well. So Indiana is about this close to being back to a mixture of national recruiting and whatever they get for from the state of Indiana.
Yeah, you nailed it. And for me, you go to the female side of things on the court. One of the things I think, you know, for me, that may not be mentioned enough of is we don't really talk about them a lot. And I think sometimes that's a positive, Jim, because you're not always being talked about like the UConns or the South Carolinas or Baylors on the women's side. So it's not no disrespect. It's that you're seeing you find a way. Coach Moore's finding a way to get great talent and to win ball games. Like they're being very consistent. Players watch that now. Like that's a great place to be. You're in Bloomington, a basketball state. Players want to be there. That's a tremendous honor. Okay, on the side, we are close because I think you have a culture builder in Coach Woodson. Nothing against Archie, right? But I didn't really see a long-term plan with him, other than if you happen to win. But now you have somebody there who you can build culture around, and also who experienced culture at IU and success, not only as a player but also as a team player that won at a high level.
Absolutely. Let's see. Mike says he saw a report that said TJG was Trace Jackson Davis was only on 2 draft boards. If that's true, being really having a good showing, he'll be back. Not sure. I have some typos there, but the gist of Mike, he's talking about Trace Jackson Davis. What we all see. I mean, Trace Jackson has put his name in the draft at the moment to test the waters, as was expected. I mean, you have to do that in his position. But from everything I've seen, I have not seen him high enough on any draft board that warrants him staying in the draft when you know what G League guys make.
Exactly.
And when I'm pretty confident that he will make an NIL money next year.
Exactly. Hey, look, I'm sorry.
I'm not the smartest guy in the world here, as we all know. And it doesn't take a mental heavyweight to figure it out.
And look, I can go back to IU. I can now not worry about going to the illegal spots for extra food. Now I'm making money, and you get one more year of great coaching. I feel from the coaching staff at IU to really develop. You also have a coach who has a lot of credibility at the NBA level that can talk straight to the head coaches, the GMs about drafting him. I don't know. I don't, like I said, I see him being a late first rounder, if that early second rounder. I don't know if that's worth it. I just don't know.
If he's a late first rounder, then that's something you have to consideration. But I don't think that he's going to be a late first rounder. There's too many names that I've looked at that are just in front of him. But we'll see. I mean, that's what he has a deadline to pull his name out of the draft, which I think that's stupid. I think you should be allowed to stay in the draft, and if you get drafted in the spot you want, great. If not, well, I guess that would not be good for the teams. But
right,
yeah, we'll see what he does. But we got to take a quick break. Charlie, are you on another segment or not? I can't remember.
Yes, sir. I'm on. Yes, sir.
All right, brother. We're back with more Charlie Miller and plenty more Indiana Sports Speed Radio here, brought to you by our good friends from the Wild Club. Make sure you get set up and signed up for the Wild Club. It gives you all kinds of members exclusive discounts, dining dollars to spend, and more sent directly to your mobile phone. The Wild Club is comprised of all those great restaurants that I mentioned. You can go to your app store and just download it from Google Play or from the Apple Store as well. Back with more Indiana Sports Speed Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Whether you're visiting Bloomington,
we don't talk much about his dad, man.
Who's that?
Is it Dale? Dad?
Dale
right?
Davis. Dale Davis. Yeah.
We don't talk much about it. I mean, like, to me, I don't think there's any rush.
I'll tell you what, if John has to remind me, I need to try to get him on one of these next couple of Mondays with you. Yeah. I've got his number. I've met him a couple times. I rode out to Portland or flew out to Portland with him.
Yeah, we don't talk enough about him, in my opinion. I mean, because he was a staple in the NBA. As one of the bruisers, I think that really solidified the NBA's game.
Well, but see, the thing is, because there was what I understand, basically, there was not much of a relationship.
Okay, yeah, that's where I want to make sure I'm careful of that. Okay.
There was not much one. I mean, there is much better relationship now, obviously, but there wasn't one. I mean, daggone, was it Richard Jackson? I'm trying to think.
Dale Davis or?
No, Dale Jackson, his stepdad.
Oh, okay, got it. Got it. Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to go down a road I can't recover. Well, I got some good inside jokes on that though. I'm gonna just keep them myself.
Come on, man.
No, we can't do that. YouTube's watching.
That's right. See, some people don't even realize I have to remind them. I remember Jeffrey the Greek was on a few weeks ago, and he's been on with us for a few months now, and he still didn't understand the fact that when we're on a break, we're still live on YouTube. like, he's like, are we on? I'm like, well, we're not on radio at the moment. We're on a radio commercial, but we're on YouTube.
We need to get
how it normally is.
We need to get Charlie a picture for Charlie.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
So because I don't have access to changing his avatar, he would have to edit it himself as he comes on. He's done it before.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll get that. I'll get us a picture. I'll do a better job.
It's all good. It's not the biggest deal in the world.
No. Let's see. Vogel is out in LA, I think.
It's funny. I just read a tweet from him, or it was a report that had a quote from him that said he didn't even know. Other people knew before he did.
Well, that's life, man. That's life today.
Yeah, I know. It's nuts. Oh, and Charlie just.
How do you do the is the settings right, John?
Should be settings, and there should be an avatar switch or something on there.
And it says, "Oh, let me do desktop."
Here, we're ready to come back. So,
it's all right. Let him go.
Here we go. All right.
Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you here on this Monday. Jim Coyle with you as always. Charlie Miller as well. Brought to you by our good friends at Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer, #1 for a reason. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com. Charlie, did you get a chance to watch any of the Masters?
He is still out of the show right now. Oh, here it comes.
Sorry, you got to. Yeah, I would have to log in. I'm not logged on to put it on there, but I'll make sure we take care of it next.
Did you get a chance to watch any of the Masters?
I did not, man. I was in the gym all weekend. I asked about it yesterday, so I didn't really pay attention to it. So my apologies.
Sorry. Scotty Scheffler, an American, wins it. Pretty fun to watch. $2.7 million to win a 4-day golf tournament. And it's actually way more than 2.7 million because all of the ancillary things that come along with that. You're a Masters champion for life. Can't take that away. That's a big deal. But man, that's a lot of money. But it was fun. Tiger Woods made the cut, but he couldn't quite. His weekend wasn't all that great, but he made it through. He committed, I saw today, to playing in the Open at the old course in St Andrews in Scotland. The British Open. Didn't you tell me you were trying to get into more golf?
Yeah, I at one point, I think I went too hard. I went too hard. I was nuts. I was getting up like 5 a.m, going to the range. I went too hard, and then I was like, I think I got to a place where I was probably like breaking like high 80s, low 90s, but yet I'm like, okay,
are you kidding me?
Yeah, man, but like it was too hard. It was just too much mental power, and I don't have it. I just don't have it.
Oh, it's a mental game. That's what people that don't play do not understand.
Yeah,
it is the most mental of mental games because you have to focus on every stroke on every hole because every stroke can bury you. And that's that. And the thing is, where us hackers, we're not swinging for deer. They're swinging as hard as they can. Every swing is to get it as far as they can. So the miscue is exacerbated that much more.
And that's where I started saying, okay, I'm traveling, I'm going to all these places and I'm playing golf. And it's like, I'm almost wasting money now. I'm done after the first hole, right? It's like mentally I'm done. Like Like, okay, what I just played this course yesterday, and I played well. What happened? And then now, you know, I don't want to practice. You know, just like anybody else. You just want to play. You want to put out the big dog. Just want to see how far you can hit it. Don't want to play. And I want to practice. So I had to slow down a little bit because, man, that's just kind of how I'm with everything. Not only competitive, but I just get so addicted to it that I can't get enough of it. So I had to walk away.
Tebow says Lakers to fire head coach Vogel today is as a lot of us understand. He said he'll start the rumor for UK fans, Cal to Lakers. Well, I don't see how the Lakers would want Calipari. He's had NBA talent for a dozen years and was only able to win one title, so I don't think they're looking for that either.
Nah, he's not going to leave. You know, I heard reports of Juwan Howard as a potential. Don't know what that sounds like either, but I've heard.
Why?
Who knows? But I've seen that.
Yeah, I just that would make no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
Don't see that. A lot of camp basketball over the weekend, Charlie. I know you were in the gym training.
Mm-hmm.
The Adidas three stripe select basketball event up in Indianapolis. Lots of players in there, man. That of IU interest, but of course from interest of everyone else as well. In the great, fans can go out to that stuff, but
yeah,
there's not a lot of room because when you think about all the players, all the coaches, the parents, the officials, the volunteers, these are not gyms that are set up for spectators generally. So
correct.
There may be an aluminum bleacher or two around a couple of courts. That's about all you're going to get. So it's standing. So it's not a lot of, it's not fan friendly, but it's not meant for that. It's a big, massive tournament. But you can see some great games all day long.
Yeah. You see the next, potentially speaking, next 15 to 20 years of basketball, at every single level, whether you're talking high NBA, overseas, NAIA, also the next, next coaching round of players. I mean, to highlight him, Shaheen Holloway, I didn't even know he was coaching, to be honest with you. But I remember playing against him and doing all these you talk about these little Adidas Select stuff. I remember playing against him at All-American camps, right? And now you see, this guy steps up and takes a school like St. Peter's, far into the NCAA tournament. Now he's at, Seton Hall. But you see the next round of basketball. That's the cool thing to me. These are the next up people, not only in just contributing on the court, but also to help other players on the court as well for years to come.
Yeah, the guys that are a year and 2 years away, these are the guys that you get to see. That we were mentioned of Cups, he's a year away.
Right.
But there's other guys that are in the Flory Badunga is a kid up here that's gaining a big name. He's going to be drawing some interest, but you could have you get to see him play. You get to see him play all the same time, but against equal talent.
Yeah.
This is not like they're going out and playing, 2A teams. Man, this is just all squeezed in there together, which is great.
One of the things too, Jim, that's slightly different is that these kids all know each other. They literally know each other. Like the travel they do is unparalleled to me. Being able to travel almost every weekend. I know some 5th grade teams, Jim, out of Florida that literally travel every weekend, and they go from Alaska to Hawaii playing basketball. And it's amazing to me just really the growth and experience that these kids get at such a young age. But that's one of the things I think the differences is now they all know each other because of social media, right? Versus back when you really didn't know. Again, I really didn't know Andre Pascal until you met him out somewhere and you realized, well, Neil Reed, God bless him. He said, oh man, we're going to the same school. You know, you got to know somebody by meeting them. Now they know each other. They're all kind of friends in a sense.
Absolutely. And that's why right now we're seeing Indiana try to recruit. Well, now they are recruiting actively. Malik Reynaud from Montverde Academy, where Jalen Hood-Schifino is coming. They've also made another offer there. So that's exactly what it is. And if they see success, I will say, had this been a year different, had Jalen Hood-Schifino been here this past year, it would have helped Indiana if they would have seen him have success. So Malik Reynaud would have to commit unknown without no, and but I keep saying this, and I hate to go back to it, but a big part of this is simply going to be the NIL packages.
That's right. That's right. No, you just said it. I mean, that's going to be a big part of everything. You got to think about that. You're going to a Power 5 school at Indiana, a lot of tradition, a lot of marketing value. So you have all the checks and balances that you need. You have everything that you need. So now, you know, that's going to be a part of that consideration. I can only hear Coach Woodson talking about that. Hey, get with the NIL marketing department. They might set you up with something. Some people want to talk to you.
Oh, and yeah, I would love to hear how that go. I would like to hear how that's pitched now.
Right.
I really would, just out of curiosity.
Right.
Because you know it is. I mean, it's part of the deal. Here's what we have. You go through the part of showing them. Here's how we want to, what we anticipate for you being part of the team. Here's what we see you doing offensively. Here's what we think we can, yada yada. And then now here's our NIL package for you.
Yep.
That's basically the pitch now, right?
It has to be. It has to be because a lot of schools who may not say have the basketball aptitude, the basketball tradition, but they may have the marketing side. I mean, a player can be swayed easily on that. You mean to tell me if I don't really have a shot at playing at the next level, I can now start making some additional income to help out family home, help out start my life, my career, like a regular student? Why not?
Exactly. Absolutely. Exactly. So, what was it? You mentioned the very start. You mentioned you saw that Trace Jackson Davis and Race Thompson had signed NIL deals, and everyone keeps saying that they're waiting for a decision from Race, and I keep saying there's no decision to be made. He's coming back.
Yeah.
There's no reason for the Hoosiers for Good to sign Race Thompson to an NIL package.
Exactly.
A kid that's from Minnesota, a kid that has no roots in Indiana, that has no connections to Indiana, that has no draw to Indiana businesses unless he's wearing a jersey that says Indiana on the front of it.
Exactly.
He's coming back next year, folks.
Yeah.
Now, Trace Jackson Davis, I'm 90% that he's coming back. He's going to go through the process. And unless some GM tells him, dude, if you're there when we get the pick, we're going to take you.
Mm-hmm.
Unless some GM whispers that in his ear, which I'm not expecting that, I expect Trace Jackson Davis to be. I keep saying this over and over because the NIL deal he has signed, I don't know what that number is. I was given a number for Race Thompson, and so I'm just using that to calculate the value, quote unquote, value of Trace Jackson Davis and compare his comparative value NIL. And I know what you can make in the G League, and I know that this already exceeds what you can make in the G League. So therefore, at 2, common sense just says, unless he gets unless he's told that, hey, we're going to pick you up here, there's just no reason. It's not financially smart.
No, and I don't think it's athletically for obviously for Trace, you got to explore that because you have the resume, you have the consistent body of work. you have to explore it. Putting your name out doesn't hurt you because it doesn't like, okay, what is he doing? No, you have all the accolades at the beginning of the season. You live up to it at the end of the season. You got better. But for me to race, I think he's in a really good situation for next year under Coach Woodson, under Coach Yashir, under their tutelage. I think he's in a really good situation. I think he can get better offensively to show more of his game, to put himself in that position. But if you're saying that money already supersedes what he can make in the G League, that makes no sense. You need to stay where you're at. You need to stay in Bloomington, get better, and don't let that. To me, he's not the player that should be concerned about what's my stock look like right now. No, you need to go back to Bloomington. You got the money that you want to make for this NIL deal and get better. Get better and get ready for next season.
Absolutely. And you can't come back to get NIL money.
Right.
You got one shot at that, and this is the first shot. Mm-hmm. And you add to that, what is the one thing that Indiana fans want right now more than anything? IU basketball to be good.
That's right.
So next season they have a chance to be pretty good, but that is with Trace Jackson Davis on that roster.
Right.
Unless they're able to go out and replace him, and that's an unknown. So if you know that this is a given and you have this in place, I just don't see how they're not making they haven't already made the effort to say, hey, if the NBA doesn't work out, this is what we have for you.
Exactly.
And I just don't see the NBA being a path for him this season.
No.
Does it mean that I could be totally wrong.
Right.
Like I said, I didn't think that Juwan Morgan was going to make it, but he worked his ass off and he did. So we'll see. But
yeah, but my last point with Race, he didn't show you enough that he belongs at that level offensively. He's a good offensive rebounder. You really don't see him make isolation type plays. He's that garbage pail guy that's really valued. But I think to really play at that level, you would have to put up Trace type numbers. He would have to have Trace's numbers, and he doesn't have that body of work yet. Not saying it is what it is. He doesn't have it day in, day out. And you can watch film and see you don't have those. He has the opportunities and touches. He's just not that kind of player yet.
Charlie, what's coming up next for you this week, brother?
Man, this week is obviously we have Easter coming up, so it's going to just be family. And then I'm getting ready for my camps. First camp I have is in June, so I'm preparing for that. It's going to be in Anchorage, Alaska. How about that? Yeah, man. I get to go to Alaska, and so I'm super excited, man. It's been prepping, just like players are getting ready for.
I need to be your media relations guy or something.
Yeah, let's jump on it. Let's jump on it, man. No, yes, man.
Bag boy, I'll be your bag boy. I'll be your bag boy. Whatever, I don't care.
Take it. No, just like the players, man. This is like my season, man. So I've been prepping my body, my mind, camps, curriculum, and in the gym, making mistakes, looking to get better, saying the wrong things, getting the right things corrected, So, man, just super excited for my camp season that's coming up. So this is kind of like that, the unseen hours for me, where it's kind of like a little downtime, but, you're working a lot throughout the day and the week. And then once my camp season starts, I think I go from Alaska right to Utah. So, I'm on the road for 7 to 8 days. Straight, but it's fair, man. I love it. I love to meet new people, help players out, help impact people, and they impact me as well.
Absolutely. Well, brother, we appreciate you. Look forward to doing this again next week. Hope you have a great one.
You too, guys. I appreciate it. Yes, sir. Everybody's good, man. Thank you, Jim.
All right, buddy. Charlie Miller joining us here as he does each and every Monday on Indiana Sports Beat. We're back with plenty more, brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. #1 for a reason. You get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com. Plenty more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Dustin Dopirak is on today. Jim Reamer, we're going to talk about what went on at the Three Stripe Select Adidas basketball event up in Indianapolis. Plenty to talk about, recruiting, masters, all kinds of stuff. Back with that right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington.
Hey, also, I just sent that link to, I guess you can call him a special guest that's supposed to be coming on in a little bit. I didn't know we were having him today until whoever that was reminded me about 5-10 minutes ago.
Who?
Michael Lewis.
Oh, shit.
I sent him the link. I got an email from Chad Smith, whoever that is. I guess that's their
When is
AD.
that?
It's supposed
When
to be
is that?
9:30 in 15 minutes.
Shit. Okay.
He has the link now. And Dustin, I haven't heard from Dopirak. We may not even have Dustin Dopirak today. So
I don't think he was on with us last week.
he told me last week he wasn't going to be on. I think I told Keegan or told you or somebody that he wasn't going to be on
Well,
last
I'll
week.
tell you what, if he does not join us, well, whether he does or not, we will take a break right before.
Well, you should take a break at 9:30 anyway, or else we'll be.
And if he is, he's welcome to stay on with us.
Unless they don't want Dustin Dopirak on.
Man, you didn't put Michael. Oh, man.
I didn't know he was on.
Right.
I just got the email and I was like, oh, shoot. I didn't know this was supposed to happen today.
I thought I sent that to you.
Yeah, like last week. And I didn't. It was an email. Like, that was
Well, that's when
forwarded to me.
That's when I set it up.
All right, let's do.
I forgot about that. Shit. Yeah, peeps. We got Michael Lewis on the show today.
Maybe. Hopefully we're not too late because
What do you mean too late?
he just said we haven't gotten the link. I hope he's still looking for it. I already sent it to him. I sent it to him after he said that I didn't send it to him. So hopefully
he'll be fine.
Is that the AD of Ball State? Is that what Chad
Who,
Smith
Chad?
is? Or something
Oh,
else?
he's
SID.
SID.
That's what I meant to say, not AD. All right. How much time we got? No, 20 seconds.
One Honda certified pre-owned Accords, Civics, CRVs, HRVs, and Pilots. See dealer for financing deals. Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indie Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Monday. Brought to you by our good friends from Remax Realty. If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. It could be the difference between you getting the home you want and not. Reach out to her, Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. As Dustin Dopirak joins us now. Dustin, how are you, sir?
Doing good, Jim. How are you?
Cannot complain. Nobody wants to listen to it. Just to let you know, Michael Lewis is joining us in the next segment. You're welcome to stay on if you have the time.
Okay, sure.
Just to shout out to him.
Shoot, I didn't realize I was late. I forgot I'm supposed to be on 9:10 these days, aren't I?
There is no late anymore, man.
Oh, okay.
We just roll. We just roll. Whenever you show up, we're good.
Okay.
This past weekend, the Adidas Three Stripe Select event went on up in your neck of the woods,
Correct.
somewhat. Did you make it out to any of that?
I went to the Under Armour event was there too.
Yeah, it was at 2 different places.
Yeah. It was they just did the tour of Hamilton County basically. I caught more Under Armour. I got got to watch Kai Newton a couple times. Well, actually, really once. The second time I went to go see him, he was injured. And got to see Derek Queen a little bit, the 2024 center out of Mount Verde that they're kind of after. And in the middle of that, the Trace Jackson Davis news broke, so I just sort of stopped paying attention to what was going on in front of me for a while. Interesting to see things get started. Basically, interesting to be at an AAU event that was sort of wide open again, as far as COVID restrictions or anything like that. Just coaches being there, players being there, spectators being there. Just felt like a weird back to normal stage. But Newton impressed me. I like how just he moves with the basketball. Basically, just for a length for a guard, basically like just was impressed by what he does. Just really good handle, cares about defense, especially on ball defense. Nice pull-up game. 3 needs some work, which obviously is an issue. I'm sure Indiana fans aren't thrilled to hear that the shooting guard they have recruited for next year doesn't light it up from 3 at this point, but I think he can get there. It's not a bad looking shot. It's something that he can work with. And he's a junior, he's got time. Basically, he's got at least another year in high school, plus, however much time it's going to take him in his freshman year to get started. So, not a reason to, fire off any alarm bells or anything like that. But, just really good ability to get his own shot. Just talked to his coach a little bit, said he's working on getting better at creating for others. Obviously, he's going to be a 2-guard, looks like, but he's still going to need to, just distribute on some level. So he needs to get a little bit better than that, but definitely like his game, definitely like his competitive, this, sharp kid, guy they're going to like a lot. The Queen kid, I was impressed with, just a big dude. I guess he's got a lot of time to develop. Obviously he's going into his junior year. But just a lot of size, touch around the rim. I'm just trying to think of guys. There's definitely guys I've seen before he reminds me of, but he's going to be huge. Like you can just tell that like he hasn't been in a weight room yet. Doesn't look like it all.
Baby fat. He's just got baby fat on him. He's just a big old dude, solid.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see him play when I went down to Montverde earlier in the year, and they just have so much talent. It's hard for some of it to stick out because anytime you're on the floor, you're on the floor with a a guy that's going to a Division I school. But he is, him and Malik Reynaud. I mean, those are the types of recruits that Indiana used to go after under Archie Miller, but had no shot at. Zero shot. Now they have a better than good shot for a couple of reasons. Hey, you've got Mike Woodson, who they all look at and respect for his NBA experience, but you've also got Hoosiers for Good, who are putting some great packages together, and they are wanting to get this program back. I know it's meant for a lot of other stuff, but at the end of the day, let's cut through all the BS. Getting Indiana basketball back is the utmost importance for Indiana University, because when Indiana basketball is going well, most other things kind of fall in that category as well.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a sharp move all the way around. I mean, and it's very I know it involves Cook Medical a lot, and Zach Osman has really been sort of the point man on our reporting on that project, but Fred Glass being involved in it fascinates me because I just
it aggravates the hell out of me. But
really, okay. I mean, to me, so
not aggravates. That's not the right word. I just don't see that he wrote a lot of great contracts.
That's but this is up his alley though. Like the thing about it with just deciding to use philanthropy practically. Just community service as a way of creating a big NIL initiative really goes down his track. I mean, basically, like I wrote the because he just wrote a book and I wrote the review for it. Basically, he approached me to say, hey, I think this would be up your alley. And it is because, he and I talk politics from time to time. And obviously he was in politics for a long time in Indianapolis. And and his book's fascinating just to read his story, just how he grew up. His dad owned a bar. And he spent like half of his life there, and just all the fascinating stories from that, and his political stories were really interesting. And going this track, I think, fascinates me to say, okay, like, well, there's a way we can turn this into, sort of quality community service and pay these kids. and basically get, and it creates a team concept within the NIL, to be like, hey, like we're going to give you guys, and I think it speaks well to this generation. I mean, I know they're just quotes, but like, I mean, Race Thompson and Trace Jackson Davis are particularly guys that you could approach and say, you're not just going to get paid, like you're going to have an opportunity to do stuff for causes that you care about. Basically, it's going to open up time for you to do that and money for you to do that. Like you're not just going to be trying to find this time outside of class and outside of basketball and outside of everything else. Like you're going to be compensated for this, and you can focus your time on stuff that you care about. It really speaks well to those guys. It speaks well to, the activist kids of this generation. And there are some in particular, just coming off of everything with George Floyd a couple summers ago. I mean, these guys care about this. It's in their minds right now. So it gets them to it. It connects a lot of dots. And I think that's a very Fred Glass thing. And so again, you can get mad at him about hiring Archie Miller and extending Tom Crean and, firing Kevin Wilson or whatever it is. But ultimately, this is the sort of thing that is up his alley. And again, I don't know how much he's the mind and the brains behind it. But it fits him. It suits just sort of his history, if you will. And it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to do anything that just takes advantage of NIL for these kids. But if you can not only do that,
absolutely,
but also do something good on top of it. I mean,
absolutely.
The
way it's set up is tremendous.
Great.
I mean, yes. It's truly tremendous the way it's set up, without question. And I think that it is going to benefit Indiana in certain areas. Basketball being the first, number one, and it probably should, since it's the train, it's the engine that drives the train at IU. Sure. There's no disputing that. Indiana has to worry about Indiana women's basketball surpassing men's football.
I mean,
I'm serious, because football is should be the engine on your train. Indiana has never been that way, but if it's not the engine, damn, it better be right behind the lead engine and right there, because if it's not, you're just losing. I can't imagine the amount of money you'd be losing if Indiana women's basketball became the second most popular deal for Indiana. And I don't mean that as a slight to Indiana women's basketball. Well, I just mean football should be drawing more, period.
Sure. Yeah, it's important to say that it doesn't matter how good women's basketball is or is not. Like that's a football's got to get itself right standpoint. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the women's ball passes. It doesn't matter if soccer passes it. Whatever wants to pass it. It's just football has to be second, and it needs and to do that it needs to win. Like it can't. There's no purpose in holding somebody else back for football's purposes. I guess is the point. I mean, and when it comes to your sort of entertainment dollar as is, in terms of, okay, like if you're an Indiana sports fan, what are you spending on? I mean, you're going to football or you're not. You're not necessarily choosing between football and women's basketball. And it's just got to get right. I mean, and it's got to get right fast. And they're in a tough spot, just 2-10, and it just basically everybody's just looking like, what do we do now? What happens? That was supposed to be the year. All these guys were coming back. They just had a great year in the pandemic season in 2020. Something's got to get right, and the fan base is very much in the place of it's it is disillusioned. So something has to go right for those guys. I'm sure we're getting kicked. Looks like we're getting kicked to a break, but
we got the man waiting for us. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, new Ball State head coach Michael Lewis, former Hoosier, joins us. Can't wait. Back with that and more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Andy Moore Honda. Hey, Michael, how are you, brother?
What's up, man? How are you?
I appreciate you so much, as always.
No problem.
Get that ball out there. What do they call that when you pop the jersey? What's that called?
You got to sit up straight so everybody can see it.
What's that called, though? There's a name for it when you
used to call it popping your jersey. That's an old thing.
Popping, popping.
It's like a 14 years ago thing. That's way.
This is my only decoration in my office.
I was just getting ready to say, we can see how busy you are because you've got nothing up there.
That's the only thing I got right there. So
But see, that shows that you're hard at work.
yeah, something, right?
Hard at work, man. First of all, congratulations, brother.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
Long time in the making.
So, but what's going on in down south?
Just waiting for the weather to break, and there's basketball going on. Did you go down to the Adidas deal at all?
Yeah, I was there. There was like 4 different tournaments or something, so I was moving all around that place. So
Yeah, I missed you. I was down there Saturday.
yeah, Grand Park. The new one was the Finch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was. I was over at Finch.
I was at Ben Davis. So those were the 3 places I was. So yeah, it was busy, but it was good to move around. So who'd you watch?
I was watching Indiana Elite toward the end. They didn't do very well. JQ Roberts, he's a great rebounder, but I'm waiting for where's his offense going to come from? He doesn't seem very offensive.
Are we being recorded yet, or is this
No?
Well,
We're
on
YouTube,
YouTube.
but
We're on
radio.
YouTube, so yeah, people can hear us on YouTube.
Just we gotta let people understand that we're live YouTube
Yeah.
consistently.
You can't.
Yeah, Mike,
Don't say-
don't talk, Mike.
Don't say anything that you don't want someone else besides us to know.
live YouTube?
They got rules on that.
Yeah, we can't talk about recruits. Right?
No,
Well, you can, but don't.
you
Yeah,
get fined.
Yeah.
or written up for a secondary. You don't want that.
No.
Yeah.
Give me a few more weeks before we start hitting those, right?
I can talk about them.
Now there was some. It was good to be out and see some of those guys. Especially like get back in front of the Indiana AAU teams. So we hit them all. Our hit
Was
was
this like the first normal event?
yeah.
Like from a yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and then they got in 2 weeks there's the second one.
Yeah, you got EYBL coming up.
Yeah.
This place.
All right,
I just
here we
wasn't
go.
sure if like anything like because was anything last summer normal at all or close to it?
Yeah, last
5
summer-
seconds,
last
guys.
summer we
5
got
seconds.
back.
Business more gets you in the home you
Right,
want
okay.
today. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Southern Stone Restaurant. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Monday, and I can't think of a better way to start this week off. Dustin Dopirik's with us as well, but Michael Lewis, the new head coach at Ball State, is with us. Michael, how are you, brother?
I'm doing well, fellas. How are you guys?
I'm doing well. Dustin is with us
Doing
as
well.
well.
Mhm, Yep.
I know. First thing I noticed is your office is devoid of anything other than. So that just tells me you just been in there working hard, baby.
Well, it's just my staff and I now. Today is the first day we've had the full staff here in the office. We got together this weekend. We're out recruiting, but I think I'm going to have to wait till my wife gets here to kind of start with the decorations behind us. But so we're a little bare, but it's been
Smart move, by the way. Smart move.
Yeah, but it's been a great 2 weeks. I feel like we got a lot of work to do, but I feel like we've gotten a lot accomplished in 2 weeks as far as trying to set a foundation for the direction in which this program wants to go.
What's it like? This has been a long time coming. You have put in your time, paid your dues, been an assistant at some great programs, Butler over to Nebraska in the Big Ten, UCLA, of course, and now to become a head coach, to be the guy that's putting the plans together, as you talked about. We were talking about going out and recruiting, going out as the head coach. What is that like for you to know that you are the guy now?
Well, I don't really look at it that way. I'm really happy with the staff that I've been able to put together here. I took some advice from Mick Cronin, and I tried to hire 3 guys that I believe can be head coaches, and we'll go work to get this thing done the right way. But this going out and knowing that it's it's your program and the things that you want to put in place. And to be able to do it at a place like Ball State, which I think mixes very well with how I view my program and what I want to do. It's a perfect fit. So I think Ball State's going to attract the type of student athletes that I value and that can build a winning program here.
Dustin, are you still there? I think we may
He had
have
to
lost
step
him
off for a second. He had to step off.
Oh, okay. Okay, no problem. So now you've got to jump into the recruiting, the thick of the recruiting, and you're going to do so in the state of Indiana, which you have a great familiarity with, and produces a ton of talent. And now but there's so many other new things that are out involved in this, Michael, and that as you're becoming head coach, the transfer portal is new, NIL stuff is new, and now you've got to navigate all of that at the same time as becoming with your first head coaching job. How hard does that make it to navigate all that stuff at once?
It's a lot of fun. Like people are like, oh, you're busy, and how is it navigating the transfer portal? How is it recruiting in today's landscape? Like, let's not overthink this, Jim. Like I coach basketball for a living. Like I feel really fortunate to have that opportunity. I get an opportunity to go out and represent a university like Ball State, and try to attract young men that give them an opportunity to set themselves up for success in their future. So this isn't hard work. Like, I mean, it's you're busy and you do a lot, but when I was on the road this weekend and you run across guys like, oh, I bet you're grinding. Like, no, man, I'm not grinding. Like this is fun. This is it's basketball, right? I'm not doing what a lot of people in this world, have to do. And I feel very fortunate to do that. So I don't look at this opportunity that way. If this job, I've told people, for the last 2 weeks. And I've said it for 18 years as an assistant. The day that this job becomes a job and work, and I look at it that way, will be when I walk away, And so this is a lot of fun, a lot of opportunity to be able to work with young men and try to give them a foundation to be successful. I get to use a game, Jim, to teach life lessons, and I get to use my experiences, the people that I've been very fortunate to be around as a player, and the guys that I've been able to work for as a coach, to try to help these guys be successful.
You, like I said earlier, you were an assistant at some great programs, and you just mentioned who are some of your biggest influences as far as being a coach?
Well, I think you can go down the list and look at who I played for. Obviously, Coach Knight is a huge influence on me because I had the opportunity to play for him. I know how the respect I have for him and the feelings I have towards him, and I've said it. I want the guys in our program to feel about me the way that I feel about him and my experience at Indiana. I want them to have that same type of experience or feel that way about their experience here at Ball State. And then you go down the list of guys that I've worked for, whether, being a GA for Coach Knight, having the opportunity my first job at Stephen F. Austin with Danny Casper to Mike Miller at Eastern Illinois. And, Mike is now in the NBA. He was interim coach of the New York Knicks, so great basketball mind. Porter Moser for a hot second, Brad Stevens, Brandon Miller, Chris Holtman, Tim Miles, and now Mick Cronin. So, when you list those guys, you realize hey, I cannot be very good and just by accident pick up some pretty good things from those guys. And so like I said, I feel very fortunate. I've been really lucky in my career with the people that I've been able to be around. Then some of that is obviously by design. Like each move that I made, I wanted to be around somebody different, where I could pick up different things. And I feel like I've been able to do that and yet remain myself and take those qualities and my vision to how I would like to run a program.
Dustin?
So obviously you listed those names, and that's some disparate personalities, I guess. What are the unifying characteristics? You've been around all those guys, and you go back to talking about how you felt about playing for Coach Knight. When you combine all those guys together, what are the sort of unifying characteristics that are sort of driving you as you get started here?
They're all about the same thing, right? They're all about winning. They're all about having quality individuals in their program. They're all about working hard to share to use basketball to give life lessons, right? I think athletics is a great teaching tool for life, because you got to there's accountability, there's discipline. You have to deal with losses. Like, you have to understand how to deal with that. You can't just run from it all the time. I just think it's an unbelievable teaching tool for life, athletics in general. But all those individuals, even though they may have went about their business in different ways, we're all about the same thing, about winning, about providing opportunity for young men to be successful, and the characteristics that they wanted in their program. They wanted, kids of good character, high character, overachievers, tough kids that are coachable, that want to win. If you put those guys in place, then you can have a good program.
What was it about Ball State that drew you? Obviously, it's in Indiana, where you're from. A lot of great talent around here as well. Ball State has some history. Rick Majerus, former coach at Ball State. But what was it that drew you to that particular job?
I think the combination of all those things. I keep going back to the leadership of this university with President Jeff Mearns and Beth Getz, my athletic director, what they feel like and their vision for a basketball program here at Ball State. Their vision and what they think our basketball program can mean to the university is exactly the same that I feel like a program can mean and do for a university. So having those conversations with them and knowing that we're in complete alignment with what we're trying to achieve here. And then on top, you put that on top of being back home in Indiana, a place that I'm so familiar with, and a place that's familiar with me in a lot of ways. Knowing who the basketball players are in the state, and when I mean players, I'm not talking just the athletes, like the AAU coaches, the directors of the programs, the high school coaches. Like I think it's as good a combination of high school coaches and AAU coaches as there is in the country when you combine those guys and why they're doing it. Why they're in the business that they're in. I think they're in it for the right reasons. I think they're getting coached at a high level. And I feel like when we would get these players at Ball State, they're going to be college ready.
Dustin?
What, in particular, in that case, in terms of just, getting players and recruiting the whole bit, what specifically did the UCLA job do for your experience? I mean, that's obviously a different part of the country for one thing. This is coming back home, but what does that piece do to it, knowing the type of player you got to recruit at UCLA and also having to spread out like you did?
Well, it was an unbelievable experience, right? Like, and when you go to a place like UCLA, you have a firm understanding. Like, you can't shy away from expectations. Like, right, you walk into a building every day that has 11 national championship banners hanging above, right? You walk into a practice facility that has 41 first-round draft picks on the walls and 122 NBA, draft picks. It's a who's who of basketball, all through those hallways. So you feel that every day, and it for me, some people may get scared of that, but for Mick, for myself, for Darren Savino, for Rod Palmer, there's a great deal of responsibility and pride to be there, but also we want to add our part to that, so being able to go to a Final Four there and then another Sweet 16, and those guys are going to achieve great things there. The thing that I'm going to be disappointed about is I won't get to be a part of hanging the 12th banner, because it's going to happen. Those guys are really good. But when I'm talking about the Ball State, I said, look, I feel like I had one of the best, if not the best, assistant coaching jobs in the country. I worked at UCLA. I lived in Calabasas, Westwood. I mean, I saw the sun yesterday for the first time in 2 weeks, and some people have us in the crazy way too early, number one team in the country is UCLA next year, right? You got 2 McDonald's All-Americans coming in, a top 30 point guard coming back. You have that team still. There's maybe some guys come and go, but it is set up for success. So this is not something I had to do. I wasn't running away from UCLA. I'm running to Ball State because of the opportunity that I think is here and the chance that we can build a winner here. But it was a great learning experience. I think Mick Cronin is one of the best coaches in college basketball, and he's at a place now where he can really showcase what he can do.
How hard is it going to be
in the state of Indiana, obviously, the basketball, well, I consider the basketball capital of the country for a number of reasons. But you've got Indiana and Purdue and Notre Dame and Butler and the other mid-major schools. And now with NIL and all that, how difficult do you think it's going to make recruiting for you? Or is it going to make it more difficult, or is it make it easier? What was it going to be like for you at Ball State?
We're going to be a player in this state. Like I think there's real talent here. I think there's real talent for our level here. I do think the state sometimes is over recruited because of the reputation that the state of Indiana has. But like I said, I keep going back to my staff. We have a staff that understands this state, understands the region. Many of us have recruited the MAC region, the MAC footprint, our entire coaching careers. And our challenge and our job is to be to understand who we are, what we're trying to attract, the type of players that we're looking for. And like when I grew up, I mentioned this in another interview. When I grew up, if you weren't going to Indiana or Purdue, you were going to Ball State. And it's just how it was in 96, you know, in the early 90s when you were looking at, they had some really good teams here. We're having success. Our challenge is to get it back there. And I think without a doubt, there's not a doubt in my mind that we can't achieve that. Like if you're not going to go to some of those programs that you looked at or you mentioned, then you need to give Ball State a real look. I think we've got some great excitement around our program right now. We have some really good support. We have some people wanting to step up and help and build this thing. And like I've told people here in Muncie, like it's going to take us all to make this happen the way that we need to make it happen. And then people are excited about it. So we've got an outstanding arena. Our practice facility is as good as anything I've been in, and I've been in two of the best in my last two jobs. Like the excitement, like it's going to be different here, and it's our job to make it different and to attract those type of players that want to come here and win.
Dustin?
You mentioned just Indiana as a state being over recruited. To what extent can you build a program at that level, you know, almost entirely on in-state talent? How much do you have to go outside still? I mean, I think Indiana can foundationally build on the state, but has to go outside. Do you feel like there's enough guys that fit there that you almost don't have to leave the border to build a really good team?
Obviously, I like our backyard. Like when you look, like I like our backyard, but I'm here to win, right? And I said in my press conference, I don't have a lot of patience. So if we can find what we need, in our opinion, to win here in Indiana, then I think you have to protect that. Like we need to get to the point where, you know, there's not young men leaving this state to go play at Murray State or Toledo or you know, places around that are similar to us outside of our state. We need to lock that down. If we can't find what we feel like we need to win here, then we have to expand and get outside and into our region. And I think, again, with my staff, that we have connections throughout this country that we can attract those type of players. But the bottom line is you got to get the right ones, and they got to fit your program. They got to fit how you want to play. They got to fit your personality, and they got to be about the right things.
How did you go about putting together the staff that you have? I mean, and how you obviously probably didn't have a ton of time to do that, but how were you able to do that quickly? Did you already have this, you know, when I become a head coach, here's a group of guys that I want to look at, or how did that come to be?
Well, this is like you said, I've been an assistant coach for 18 years. So this is an opportunity that I've been preparing for 18 years. So when I got the phone call that they wanted me to be the head coach at Ball State, it wasn't like, you know, there was no like, you know, moment where I'm like, what am I going to do? You know, like I have a pretty clear plan of what I want my program to look like. And part of that included the assistant coaches that I wanted to hire. I wanted, like I said, like Mick Cronin told me, like you hire 3 guys that you believe can be head coaches in their future, and you can figure it out. I also wanted to err on guys that I knew and knew me, where we had a relationship as we get this thing started. I didn't want to hire guys that I didn't know, and there was a lot of interest in this position, which made me feel like there's a lot of people that think and believe that we can make this thing happen here, you know, with some of the people that reached out for opportunities. But I had a pretty good idea heading in what directions I wanted to go. And it was just, having those conversations and making it happen. So, with I've known Lou Godino since I was in college. Obviously, Meeks and I have an Indiana connection. And I've, watched those guys work for several years. And then Ben Botts is a kid that I recruited when I was at Eastern Illinois, and so he's from Muncie. Like, I'm just, extremely pleased with those three guys. And then, really, we don't talk about it, but the steal of my staff may be Bill Comar, being able to keep him here, who he's worked for, where he's been, what he's meant to programs. Like, he's going to be a huge part of our staff as a special assistant to the head coach, and just, kind of running this program, behind the scenes and making sure we're doing what we need to do. So with those four guys, I feel like we got a hell of a staff, and we can go make this thing happen.
Jamal Meeks, a great. Who's going to be the tough guy there? Because, and I know that in talking to some like Todd Leary and those guys in the past, it said, man, Jamal was the guy I did not want to mess with. He was always the guy that was he was the first guy that was going to be in the front of if something was going on. You were like that as well. So there's no doubt that Ball State is going to be tough as hell. But man, what a great combination of you and Jamal Meeks. You talk about bringing toughness.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty evident with myself and our staff what we're looking for in a program. We want guys that love basketball. We want guys that love to compete, love to win. And with that, if you love ball and you love to compete, you have to be tough. Like, you can't love to compete and be soft, right? So I think any good team reflects the personality of their coach and their coaching staff. And so I think when people come into this program, they're going to have a clear understanding of what we're about.
Dustin?
I just want to get a sense. I mean, when you have a sense that you could be a head coach, that's your game plan. Like, do you keep a plan? Like, I mean, do you have a Word document? Like, how do you put together? Is there a Google Doc? Is there a folder? I mean, like, what do you? Like, did you have a one plan? What's that look like?
Well, when you've been doing this for 18 years, like you just, there's not much in here. Okay. There's not much in here. I was joking with our president. He went, he went to Yale. Right. And so I got recruited by Yale till I turned to my academics, and that was the end of that. So there's not a lot in here. Like, I can't do a lot of things, but I do understand basketball. I do understand what winning programs look like. I understand how they operate. So I don't know what kind of document you would call that, but it's been in here for 18 to, you can count being a GA, almost 20 years, and then as a player. So there's been a running, whatever you want to call it, in my mind. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'm sure like any successful athletic director, they keep a little list of names in their drawer. Like, I have I've got multiple notebooks, throughout my career where, there's, I can flip through them, and there's different names of guys that I wanted to look at for staff positions, and different thoughts and philosophies and ideas. And it's a constantly changing thing. I think as a coach, you have to continue to evolve, or you get left behind. So, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's been a working, let's say, document, so to speak, for 18 years about what I want to try to do and accomplish, and it'll continue to be changing, all the time. So, but it's like I said, this has been a lot of fun because it's what I prepared for. I feel like, it's not something that, like I said, I wasn't running away from UCLA. This is not something, I've been very particular in my career about the opportunities that have come my way and which ones I've taken, to set myself up to be as prepared as possible for when this day happened.
Someone asked, speaking of which, so what's your opinion on the current offensive schemes in college basketball? What's your philosophy going to be? Is it offensively, defensively? Just out of curiosity, with all that you've been, seen so many different offenses, from motion where you played to through your coaching career. Where have you developed?
Well, first I need to get to know our players more. They're going to dictate. Like, I'm not here to. I told our guys in the first team meeting, I'm not here to take opportunities away from young people to be here at Ball State and get an education and play college basketball. I think that's a hell of a deal. And I know, like I talked about earlier, I know how I feel about my experience. I want these guys to have something as similar as they can. So I'm not here to take opportunities away from guys unless they do something that dictates that, right? That's on them. But they're my guys now, and so they're my responsibility. So as far as offense and defense, I feel like part of being prepared for this opportunity is I've been around a bunch of different guys. We've won a bunch of different ways. And so it's my job as a coach to take the abilities of the guys that we have in that locker room and find a way to win. So my philosophy is to win. So how do we do that? Do we need to play fast and win 90-82? Do we need to slow it down? Like that's what I'm going to figure out over the next 6 months is how we need to play offensively and how we can take advantage of mismatches and different things and put guys. How can I put our players in situations for them to have success? Like I'm not going to ask anybody in our team to do things they can't do. And that's my job as the coach, to put them in situations that are advantageous to them. Defensively, I'm a man-to-man guy, always have been. I think our level of pickup and pressure will probably be a little bit more than what they had here in the past, just on different defensive philosophy from what I've watched. But as far as my philosophy overall, my philosophy is to win. So how do we best do that?
Where does the floating green, does it make the trip?
I just got a house, and I don't. It's Muncie is not that big, so there's a lot of people that are.
It's not that warm either. It's not that warm either, Michael.
We're figuring it out, but I got a little. What is the movie like? You got a pool and a pond. A pond would be good for you.
Yeah, Caddyshack, man.
Yeah, there you go. So I got a pond. We may have to put that floating green out there in that pond, and the little 10-yard chip may turn into a 30, but it's we got a spot for it. We just got to make it work.
That's even better now. You can get a little further out there. That little 15-foot chip, and that wasn't anything. Now you can put it on a rope and throw it out there in the middle of it. Talking about, I remember he was waiting for this floating chipping green for like 3 weeks or something, and it finally arrived.
COVID purchase. You get bored, you start doing stupid stuff during COVID, and so. The one good thing about living in Calabasas during COVID is we had a nice little patio out back and a pool. And so, Dustin, we got on the internet and bought a floating green, and so we just threw it out in the pool and it would float, and it came with a little mat. We just sit there and chip these little plastic golf balls that would, try to make buckets. So it was all fun, all good.
I can see a great drinking game out of that.
Well, we may have come up with a few. You never know.
We'll have to do that. Well, I hope it makes the trip, man.
Was a constant drinking game is basically what it was.
There you go.
That stage there were no rules at that point.
No rules.
Dustin, anything else? Dustin, you have anything else?
Just to make it real quick. I mean, I don't know if this is going to drag you out too far, but you talked about just building an offense around your players. I mean, but when you get to recruit guys, is there a skill set that you value over others? Is shooting more important or athleticism, or what do you, is there a particular sort of physical skill set that you prioritize?
I like versatility. And I know that's a broad answer and we'll get more into it, but offensively, I can dictate where you get the ball and where and all that stuff. So offensively, I can play somebody anywhere I want based on their skills, right? Defensively, I want versatility. I want to be able to, basketball is becoming more and more positionless. How do you, the more you can switch, the better, in my opinion, from the defensive end. Can you do things to shorten the shot clock where you're not, you're playing against great offenses each game? Can you do something to shorten that opportunity for your opponents? But obviously when you have great shooting, it makes the game a little bit easier, right? You can have a bad offensive possession and then somebody throws a shot in at the end of the shot clock and everybody's all happy. You're like, oh, it's great offense. Like, no, it was really bad, but a guy saved you, right? Because he threw in a shot. So I like length. I like versatility. I like high skill. I like high basketball IQ. Guys that understand the game. That's why I'm so excited to be here and reconnect with a lot of the AU and high school coaches here that I feel like do a great job of teaching the game. But yeah, I think if I could put together a perfect team as we go through this, I think you want length, athleticism, with varying different skills throughout your lineup, and you try to build a program where you're too deep at every position. Where if somebody's having an off night, or maybe somebody's not, maybe doing the things that you want done, like the old Coach Knight, Mick Cronin, Rick Pitino, like the greatest teaching tool in the world is, hey, come sit next to me. Just where there's a level of accountability, where these guys can learn how to compete, learn how to win. So not only are they successful here, but then they're successful in life.
Last question, Michael. I know it's early on yet, but scheduling wise, looking to schedule games with some of the in-state bigger schools, Indiana, Purdue, Notre Dame.
Well, it's something I got to tackle this week. We've had a lot of different things going on, but we got to get into the schedule. I think when you're at Ball State, and I saw some guys over the weekend, we need to play a lot of in-state schools. But you also got to protect your program and do what's best for your program. And what you're trying to build. So, I do I know Indiana State's on our schedule. That I think they should be on the schedule every year. Evansville is a team that I think, Ball State and Evansville should play. IUPUI, Valpo, all those things. And then obviously if you can work in some games, with the bigger schools, it's a two-way street when it comes to those things, right? They've got to be able to, and it's not as easy as what people think. Like, hey, you just call up Woody or Paint and be like, hey, let's, you want to hoop on Saturday. Like, it's not like that. There's a lot of different things that go into it: TV, money, buy games, and all that stuff. So it's not quite as simple as people think. But I do think for a place like Ball State, we need to try to do everything we can to protect and enhance in-state rivalries, so to speak, with some of the teams that I just mentioned, and also when there's opportunity there to play a bigger school, if it makes sense for both programs, it's definitely something you have to explore.
Man, I cannot thank you enough, Michael. Congratulations again. You've put together a hell of a staff. I'm looking forward to following you and watching what all goes on, because I know it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to watching the season unfold and how everything goes for you there, man. And I could not be happier for you. You've worked your ass off to get to this point, and for it to happen back in Indiana, it couldn't be any better. But man, congratulations.
No, I appreciate it. We're I keep using the word excited because, I wake up in the middle of the night, and your mind is racing with things you get to do. And so that level of excitement has not waned as I'm going into week 3 here. I still got a list of things here in front of me that I've been staring at, things I need to get done and accomplish. And it's been a ton of fun. Like I said, this is not work to me. This is basketball. It's something I love to do, something thankfully I've been able to turn in the only thing I know how to do into a job that, a career, right? So I feel very lucky to do that and to be able to do it here in Indiana at Ball State. It's special.
We're lucky to have you, brother. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for being such a great friend of the show, and good luck as things continue to unfold. Tell Chad thank you very much as well, and I'm going to be hitting up Jamal to get him on, because he's always a character, man. Your players are going to love him. Well, they're going to love him sometimes unless they piss him off, but they're going to love him. He's a character.
Well, they're going to get their first taste of them all here this afternoon. So I'm looking forward to that. So no, he's going to be great. Just as Lou and Ben. Like I said, I feel really fortunate to be able to put together the staff that we were able to put together here, and I think they're not only tough competitive coaches, but they've been in college basketball. They're experienced. They understand it, and they're about the same things I'm about as far as trying to provide the best possible experience for these guys here, because they get one shot to be college basketball players. So they're about the same things that I am, and we're here for the right reasons. We're just going to try to win some basketball games along the way.
Michael Lewis, Ball State head basketball coach. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mike.
Thanks,
Have a
Doug.
great day, buddy. Michael Lewis, the head basketball coach at Ball State, joining us here on Indiana Sports.
You got
Beat
something to
Radio
say.
on this
Hold
Monday.
up.
Hey,
Mike has something to say.
when are you two guys coming up here to Muncie? We could get behind.
I was gonna come up to your announcement last Monday, but it wasn't going to work out because you weren't going to be available.
You see that? You start stuttering. Like
Don't worry, I'll
tell
be
you,
up there
I cover
as
Indiana,
soon as
so
it's
you gotta-
available.
You got to schedule Indiana for a home game. So as soon as you pull that off,
I can cover anything
right
I
there,
want.
Mike.
So I'll
Instantaneously.
cover anything I want. I'll be up whenever you want. Hey, you just tell me when you got something going on. I'm there.
All right, fellas. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anything. You bet, buddy. Anytime as well. The great Michael Lewis joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington. Shit, I forgot to thank Dustin. I thought you were
I'm good.
He's here.
thinking you were.
Also, I get
co-hosting.
5 minutes to say hi to Jim Reamer. You bring this guy on for real.
Dustin, what
There you go.
do we can I keep making fun of Zach because the Reds split with the Braves?
Oh, keep doing that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Make a point to do that.
That's a hashtag
I
ATL sucks all year.
I
Yeah.
saw that. Funny. I was like, oh, wow, the Reds won a second game against Atlanta.
Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. The Pirates won a baseball game yesterday. That's never supposed to happen. That's not. They shouldn't beat anybody. I mean, seriously, for real. Like,
I've surprised the Reds over was like 73.5, something like that this year. The over under.
Whoa, that's higher than I would expect.
That's higher than I would expect too. I don't.
You should, if the Pirates is anything higher than 65, you should take the under.
I've not followed baseball enough lately to go that direction with the over unders. I just hit on a big
Right.
NBA over under parlay, but
Well done. Well done.
but yeah, I probably will bet a little more on baseball now that
There
it's
you
legal.
There you go.
I'll start,
I'm
follow,
going to
start
sign up,
following.
and I'm glad I got to see
I'm going
you
to start
before.
following baseball again just so I can
There you go. Make some money off of it. It's easy.
gamble. Yeah.
Well, it's not easy, but that stuff you can do. All right. All right,
Jim
fellas.
Coyle.
Good to see you guys.
You'll
You
need
heading out,
one
Dustin?
more break to hit about
See you, bud.
10:20 ish.
Good.
Dustin, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you.
No problem. Thanks for having me as always. See you guys.
I'll give you a thank you when
I
we
appreciate
come
it.
back.
Thanks, man.
Not bad.
That's all right.
Thank
That's
you.
all right. See you guys.
So yeah, Jim, you do have one more break to hit. Just hit it at the very latest. Just do it around 10:20, so you still have a few minutes left in that last segment. But that was good, Michael Lewis.
Of course it was. Where were you this weekend?
We were playing at the NY2LA event at Ben Davis.
Okay. What, man? They had 3 different freaking things going on.
Yeah, that's the largest. That's the best independent circuit there is.
What is
NY2LA?
NY2LA?
Yeah, they have teams that are pretty stacked.
Oh, New York to Los Angeles. Got it.
Basically, yeah. It's more like New York to the Rocky Mountains, but
I was at the what's the place in Fishers?
oh, Best Choice or
Finch
No,
Creek.
the Finch Creek.
Finch Creek,
There we
Mojo Up.
.com. Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Courtroom Sports Grill in Bedford. Now back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Speed Radio here on this Monday, brought to you by our good friends at the Courtroom down in Bedford. Great place to stop in for a meal, watch a game, whatever you need. Jim Reamer joins us now from Courtside, Indiana. Big weekend, man. Lots going on. Just finished up a great interview with Michael Lewis. How about that up in Muncie now, having him at Ball State? That's going to make things interesting. He's a coach that players, parents will remember. Current players know him now, are going to know him from UCLA. He's done it right. He waited a long time, but he did it right. Someone I know commented, after listening to this, how was he not hired at IU? Well, there was one reason only. And he told me this a year ago after the fact because I thought he was going to be the guy too. I'll be honest with you. I was convinced. And I think that he was, but he said he is not leaving Los Angeles for anything other than a head coaching job, of which he has now. And it was a smart move. Look what happened to Dane. That could have happened to him. So, because Michael Lewis is not exactly a mild, meek kind of a coach or guy. He is personally, but not on the court. So, it could have been the same type of a deal. But now, is he someone that could be future coach at IU? Sure. There are going to be so many potentials between him, Keith Smart, in 4 or 5 years from now, which, that's ridiculous to even talk about that now, but not really. I mean, there's truth to that. And if Michael could get through 4 or 5 years at Ball State, yeah, he's probably going to be the leading candidate at Indiana, without question. Like you said, I thought it was him last time. I was convinced it was, but now I know why. But it's working out right for him.
I would have been surprised if they hired somebody that didn't have head coaching experience. That's a lot of pressure for that's your first job is to be at that type of to be in that type of a school with those expectations. And it would be expectations he would expect of himself. Not to say that he wouldn't accept the challenge or not to say that he wouldn't desire it. But I would have been surprised that if Indiana would have gone that direction. Now you give him, like you said, 4 or 5 years of success at Ball State. Now all of a sudden he's an option if whatever the reason, Woodson wouldn't be the head coach. I mean, we're burying Mike here before he even has a chance to really coach guys he's recruited. So we'll see. We'll see how that.
I'm not burying him. What are you talking about?
Well, you're talking about 4 or 5 years from now, and that's a pretty short tenure. I said we, as in both of us discussing it, not just you specifically.
Oh, not in today's marketplace. 4 or 5 years is not a short tenure, especially at a smaller school, at a stepping stone school. Let's just be honest.
No, I'm saying 4 or 5 years to be Indiana's next head coach.
Oh, you think it's going to take that long or longer or what?
for
the next. Yeah, I mean, it's not because of him doing well. I mean, he's 64 years old. Let's be honest.
I hope he's. Yeah, I hope he's. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I mean, he just get rid of a guy because he was that the conversation was part of the landscape.
I think that it was. I'm just saying when it happens.
Yeah.
And I'm just guessing, hey, what if it's 4 or 5 years from now, whenever? I don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen. It's going to happen.
It would be interesting. It'd be interesting if Mike would turn down other opportunities that came along. I feel pretty confident that he had opportunities to be a head coach before Ball State popped up, but nothing is as enticing as this. Part of getting that job is also being in familiar territory. And like you said, you talked about the families that would know who he is. And I think a lot of times coaches will take bigger jobs, but end up in situations where they can't be successful in recruiting. And I think Mike can go to Ball State and be successful in recruiting. And he doesn't have to hit a ton of home runs with it. He's got to make sure he has people that can fit his system. And this is a great place to be. He can recruit Ohio pretty easily. He can recruit Michigan pretty easily. He can recruit Illinois pretty easily. And, he can even dip down to Kentucky when they've got the occasional. Kentucky doesn't have a ton of talent every year, but they do have some kids that can get to mid-major schools and help those programs out quite a bit.
Exactly. That's what Scotty Davenport built Bellarmine on into a Division II power, and now they're Division I. I saw Scotty and talked to him at the Adidas three stripe select basketball event up at Fence, the course up there over the weekend. But have you lost your keys lately?
Me?
Yeah.
No, why?
Rusty just wanted to know. Said hello. Rusty Jones.
Oh, I kind of remember what that. I kind of remember what he's talking about.
Updates.
Yeah, I vaguely
Kenneth,
do. Yes.
Kenneth asking for any updates on Xavier Johnson. No, I haven't followed it, but look, here's what's going to happen. I can say this over and over. They're going to lower charges. That's what they do in life. I don't care who you are. If you've ever had some tickets, you know that they charge you for this, that, and you go in and negotiate it down and blah, 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 and that's how that works. I'm quite certain that they're going to come up with like they would with anyone. It has nothing to do with him being on the IU basketball team. So I'm quite certain the felonies will be reduced, especially since he's young. That's irrelevant to me. I don't care. I no longer care what the charges are, but my decision would have been already made. I don't care what the court ends up doing, because here are the facts of the matter. But now getting back, I don't think anything's going to happen with Xavier other than he'll be punished from within. I think if something was going to happen as far as being removed from the roster program, probably would have happened already. A lot of time left, but I don't know. But I just don't see. I don't see Woody getting rid of a player that he needs and that he knows he needs, especially if he thinks that he can get to him. There's no doubt that he's going to sit down, Jim, and that they're going to have a heart-to-heart, and he's going to say, "Look, Xavier, you've had multiple chances here. This is it." I don't know if that's the case, but I'm going to assume that's it because he needs him. Indiana needs Trace Jackson Davis. That's why Hoosiers for Good are going to pay him the money that they need him to come back. Indiana wants this team and they want it now. They're tired of waiting. They're tired of being on the sidelines. And that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, I've agreed from the beginning I've felt from the beginning that Xavier Johnson wouldn't be kicked off the team for this. Because like you said, those charges would get lowered. It depended to the extent of which the resisting arrest or resisting, what was the actual charge? It wasn't resisting arrest. It was
resisting or something. It was not stopping.
Basically evading
it's not stopping.
Yeah, that's not. Look, it's not.
None
smart.
of it. None of it was smart, but none of it was overly damning in and of itself.
None of it's worth ruining a career.
But it's not that. It's the pattern that we've talked about. And does this pattern continue? So I don't know. I just know that I don't think if he was going someplace, he would have been gone. I just don't think that they're going to, with what could happen next year, with what they have coming in, Jim. I just don't see him, especially if Trace Jackson Davis stays like I think he will. I think Race Thompson's not going anywhere either. And they still have a recruit to bring in, of course. Malik Rayneau is someone that they're after, obviously. If they get him, Indiana becomes a team to be reckoned with next year in the conference for certain. But they're an automatic top 25 team, in my opinion.
But they still have to address the shooting issue, though.
Yes, without question.
None of that, and whether that's with improvement of personnel or improvement of system, of getting the right guys, clean looks. I mean, they would be incrementally better, but they still wouldn't be a national contender without having the shooting. I mean, it'd be one of those deals where they could probably. They would certainly have a better record. They certainly would be more imposing defensively. But at the end of the day, the scouting oftentimes prevails when teams have such glaring weaknesses. And if they don't shoot the ball better, then it would be real easy for them to have a good year, but have a disappointing tournament. And then, doesn't really change much what seed you are if you're not making it to the second weekend at the very least, because that's what this program used to expect, 3 out of every 4 years, it seemed like.
This past weekend, let's see, the Three Stripe Select event going on that I attended up in at the fence location. You didn't make it over there at all, right?
No, but Chris Spillman, kid that writes for me. I say he's a kid. I guess he is still a kid. Yeah, he's a senior at Zionsville High School. Does good work for us, and he was there. He watched the Indiana Elite teams, and we recorded a segment for the podcast we're publishing later today about it. Flory Badunga is definitely a name. I see Ross had mentioned him in the chat, and
he's 30. Didn't he have 34 points in a game? Yeah, 34 points in a game.
He's gonna have a big week. He's gonna have a big week. He's gonna get offers this week more than likely. The issue with him, because a lot of people have asked why is his recruiting not picked up? The answer strictly is doesn't speak much English. And right now there hasn't been a lot of opportunities for coaches to talk to anybody younger than right now. Nobody can talk to him till June 15th. So even then, he's going to need help communicating with coaches, and that's where his head coach John Peckinpah comes into play. He's part of I need to get more details on this. He's part of an immigration program that Kokomo High School has as part of their I don't know what you would call it, their enrollment process, their curriculum. I don't know what the actual terminology would be, but that's why he's here. And they have students across the board, not just basketball players and not just athletes, but I mean, he's a fantastic player. He's a fantastic talent. I think he's one of the top 2 or 3 prospects in the state, regardless of class, along with Trent Sisley and Jalen Harrelson. And he is got a huge motor he's got a huge motor, period. And, it's his recruiting has just not had a chance to blossom yet because it's hard for him to communicate with people just because the language barrier. He speaks French and whatever his Congolese dialect is. So that's been an obstacle. So I think a lot of that's going to change this week.
Let me tell you what's not an obstacle: scoring and dominating games. You see that translates very well through every language.
Absolutely.
Rivals national writer Travis Graff on Flory Badunga says Indiana elite big man might be the country's best kept secret. Might also be the most productive big man here in Indianapolis this weekend. He's a 6'9" dude with soft hands, finishes everything within 5 feet, finishes with both hands, and tries to rip the rim off.
Yep. He's a tremendous rim protector. He has great timing. He's not undisciplined in that way. Now, granted, I've not seen him play other caliber bigs like him. I've seen him play 6'5", 6'6" kids who are very good in their own right. But I've seen him be very disciplined and not just absolutely go crazy trying to block shots. He's not out there jumping around at everything, is my point. And he is he's got a little bit more skill than what he shows during the school season. I think a lot of that is a need issue. They need him around the paint a lot, but he is capable of getting mid-range catches and getting one bounce and get to the rim. And he's got a lot of length and a lot of spring. He can do a lot of things around the basket, regardless of how he gets there.
Absolutely. Hey, we got to take a quick break, and we'll be back to finish up right after this here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting...
Hey, it's fine. Well, I didn't realize. I forgot that. I mean, I've removed their spots, the Evansville spots, but we can adjust break stuff as necessary in the future.
Well, that was only as it went. It's not like
they're still playing your spots. It's not like your spots are getting.
Yes. Right. I'm just saying. What have I missed?
I had a cold going into the weekend and then coaching for the first time this week or this season. And I mean, it's fun trying to talk right now.
We've only got a few minutes.
No, that's all right. We're good. I just sound like I'm chewing on gravel.
Ugh. Hey, a new, a top golf competitor is coming to Indianapolis.
Oh, I've been by it. I've seen it.
What's the name?
I was wondering why it's taken
Back
so
nine.
long for someone
Back
to do
nine.
this. I'm like, oh, what the hell is somebody waiting for? I'm like, I'd be putting these up all over the place.
It's in a weird
It's the new
neighborhood.
bowling alley.
It's in a weird neighborhood, man. It's got a couple of nice. It's got a couple of nice corporate offices nearby. So I'm assuming they will probably try to attract a lot of corporate business. But then there's some pretty rough neighborhoods nearby.
Yeah. But you know what? It's also on the south side of town. So as soon as the I-69 is finished, you're going to draw a lot of IU students, people from Bloomington, because there's a big difference. You can get to that. You'll be able to get to that facility in about an hour, whereas Top Golf is an hour and a half.
Let's see. What did they say the address was?
It's southwest of Lucas Oil Stadium, about a mile.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, that's technically downtown. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's going to be quicker. Yeah, no question.
I can't think if our
58,000
Top Golf in Louisville is open yet, but if not, it's
Well, the one up, it has to be. Why would it not be? The one in Fishers is. Do
When
they
did that
close?
go? No, the issue with the Louisville one is,
Oh, you mean opened up, period.
yeah, like opened.
I
Because
thought it
there
had
was a
opened
big-
already.
It may
Yeah, I
have,
thought
but there was a big issue with the neighborhood, or not
There was
a
all
bad
kinds of
neighborhood, but
issues.
it was a nice neighborhood that was pissed off
Right,
about it being put up there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
They fought everything.
Well, the one thing that I like about where this place is, and it's one thing that I've often wondered, is how they've screwed up the White River area as bad as it got. And maybe because back when Indianapolis was growing, they made it industrial instead of commercial.
10 seconds.
But I'd love to see the White River area way more
Indiana Sports
revitalized.
Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by K-Bello. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by Cabello Restaurant, a part of the WOW Network. Make sure you go into your app store and join the WOW Club. Just get the app. WOW Club members can earn exclusive dining dollars, discounts, and more sent directly to your mobile phone. WOW Club is comprised of all these great restaurants and locations. You can order online from BB's Marketplace, those specialty meats we talked about, but you build up points, man. And even if you don't use it, it looks good on us. So do us a favor. Sign up. Get your WOW Club membership. Jim Reamer with us from Courtside, Indiana. I was talking about in the break about the new event center, not event center, but Back Nine Golf, a competitor to Top Golf. $30 million center is expected to open in June, southwest of Lucas Oil Stadium, which would be great for people coming up from Bloomington, especially when I-69 gets finished, as opposed to going to Top Golf, which is up in Fishers, an hour and a half away. I've never been to Top Golf, but it looks like it would be something fun, really fun to do in the wintertime. But that's just got to be, wow, big old thunder boomer rolling through here right now. But looks fun.
You got storms.
We got storms coming. But it's over there southwest, on the side of town where it's south of the stadium, south of Victory Field and all that stuff. But I think it's going to do well. I mean, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that more people had not copied that recipe.
We were talking during the break. I'm thankful, or I like the fact that it's part of the revitalization of the White River area, where the river goes through Indianapolis, and how that is now stretching south of the city, because that's been a wasted opportunity for a long time. And I know they've had some property issues there with like industrial properties not wanting to sell or not being able to sell. I'm not exactly sure of the dynamics behind that, but I was always surprised at how the lack of commercial and residential development along the White River, little, I don't know what you would call it, river view, I guess, has just not kept up with the rest of the city's revitalization.
Yeah, but I think that they seem to be getting it there.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And with Victory Field, there's a lot of stuff that I had I actually was with the Regulators yesterday, a basketball team that recently won the Bloomington City basketball championship. Some guys that are on that team was able to go up with a lot of familiar names from around Bloomington. Jesse Steinfeld, Mr. Mike Ross, of course, Johnny Jager. But anyway, we went up to an Indians game, and there's a museum of Western art there. I'm like, I had no idea this was here. And I'm from Indiana, but hey, man, it's
where were you up here in Indy or Bloomington?
Yesterday in Indy.
Oh, in Indy, Idle Jorg. Is that what you're talking about?
I was at the Indians game.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
But yeah, hey, another great day, man. I cannot thank everybody enough. Jim Reamer, start off with you. Thank you, sir, so much. Of course, a big thanks to Michael Lewis, the new head coach at Ball State, and his SID Chad, of course. John, the producer, Dustin Dopirak. Have I missed anyone? Charlie. Oh, Charlie was in the beginning. Daggone it. Charlie, as always, as well. So looking forward to trying to get Jamal Meeks on next week. He's been on with us before. He's a character. But, hey, we got more coming up tomorrow to go out and do. Jimbo, you've got a big week coming up. What's next weekend?
Easter. So we're just playing Friday, Saturday, just like getting some games
Perfect.
in. Nothing special this week. So
sounds good, man. Hey, we'll be back to do this all again tomorrow. I thank you to everybody. I cannot thank you guys most of all. Without you, we have no reason to be here. But we certainly appreciate you, and we'll be back to talk to you again tomorrow. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition